Well, I guess I'll do a quick intro. Church of Atheism.
Boom.
Yep, there it is.
Nailed
That's the intro.
it. Roll it.
So, yeah. So we're talking about what's referred to as secular humanism, and I don't know, you might be able to explain it better than I can to the folks at home.
So Wiki has a pretty good definition of it. And if I can stop hitting my headphones against the microphone. So, secular humanism is a philosophy or life stance that embraces human reason, ethics, social justice, and philosophical naturalism, while specifically rejecting religious dogma, supernaturalism, pseudoscience, and superstition as the basis of morality and decision making. So basically, it's just kind of the. To me, it's like the who are we, why are we here, without automatically going straight to Jesus did it.
Yeah, because I don't really I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of a cop out.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't like to trash people's beliefs, even though we have a podcast basically
specifically does
around
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I try and say.
Well, like in general, like in everyday life, I don't go out of my way to like seek down Christians and then like point and make fun of them.
No, like like I don't like to say people are dumb. I guess that's what I was trying to say. I don't want to tell people that they're dumb for believing what they believe because
in a dumb religion.
Yeah, because I mean, like, a great quote I heard before was that, smart people are very good at rationalizing not so smart ideas.
Right.
And that applies to really anything, whether it's politics or religion or science.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like a secular humanism thing. Well, here's kind of what I was, I was reading about that, and then I ended up reading a bunch of different articles about the founding fathers, which got me all fired up, because, like, I was on some, like, forum, and, yeah, that was my fault. I could have just clicked out of it, but I didn't, so, because, I always say that if you don't like what you're hearing, leave. Actually, I've never said that.
I've heard someone say it before, and I agree.
Yeah. They probably would have said it better, whoever
right.
that would have been. No, but like I was reading about like Pat Robertson, which we could probably fill a solid hour or two about him.
We probably should.
I don't know why he hasn't even come up yet, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he did in one of our like second or third episodes for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But like
we haven't brought.
Is he still alive?
I think so.
We should probably do one now while he's still alive.
Is he? Because I feel like if he was still alive, we would have heard more about him, like at least during the election and the Trump administration, because Trump is a class A panderer.
He was there. He was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised he wasn't a little more prevalent, because he was a big part of the the W. Bush administration.
Yeah.
And he tried. I don't know if he kind of distanced himself from Obama or what. Probably.
Well, Obama was. I think he said something about Obama. Like, we should probably save this part for an episode just of him.
Yeah. Well, we could get back to him. To the listeners, we'll definitely get back to him.
Yeah.
He's been bugging me since
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been bugging people before we were born.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if we would do an episode on him, and then he's gonna die soon, like in the next like 5 years, we could just like, oh, here's our episode on this asshole that just died.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, But no, I was on some forum and I was reading about all sorts of stuff, and some Pat Robertson quotes came up, and a lot of conservative people really, like, a lot of conservatives love to talk about how America's a Christian nation. And, like, when I was kind of reading into, like, human secularism, that is essentially what a lot of the founding fathers were.
Yeah.
And first of all, people just need to stop it with that shit. Who gives a fuck what the founding fathers believe? Because, for one thing, they're all rich as shit. They're all slave owners.
Right.
They, for the most part, could give a fuck less about the majority of the citizens. So, fuck George Washington.
Well, like, I just think it's ridiculous that everything goes back to the founding fathers. Like,
it's stupid.
Like healthcare to me. I keep hearing people say, and I think I've even mentioned this already on one of our other episodes, but like when people say about healthcare, like healthcare isn't a right. Well, it's not a right because our founding fathers didn't have it when they were around. The health insurance wasn't a thing when we had the founding fathers.
Yes. Health insurance was not dying before 30.
Right.
That was as close as they got back then.
Yeah. So, like, when I hear people like, well, the founding fathers didn't say anything about... Well, no shit they didn't say. They also didn't say anything about Apple products and Samsung products and the internet.
Yeah, they didn't say dick about cars or fucking Led Zeppelin.
Right.
They didn't know shit about that.
We have car laws. We have aviation laws.
Yeah, they didn't say shit about parental advisory stickers on music.
That's
or
right.
Net neutrality. I would love it if someone used the founding fathers in a net neutrality argument. That'd be fucking great.
Well, Abe Lincoln wanted internet to be owned by...
Yeah.
Like,
oh, like I said, that brings me into something. Okay, so I was reading about, kind of a brief history of some of religious events that involve the presidents, and so what I didn't realize is that the phrase "in God we trust" actually never showed up until
like the 50s.
The 1861.
Okay.
Is when I think it first showed up on like currency, and actually, Teddy Roosevelt tried to get rid of that, and people just fucking had a fit about it.
Yeah.
So then he was like, "Oh, whatever, I don't care." But no, the '50s thing actually, it was. I didn't realize this either. In the Pledge of Allegiance, it was in 1956.
Yeah.
The phrase "under God" first showed up, which is really funny because, like, I did not realize that it's only like 61 years old.
Yeah.
And people just really fucking throw a fit about it. Like, we're a Christian nation, and the problem with that argument is that nobody really, there's absolutely no way you could even prove what religious beliefs the founding fathers had. The only one that was really vocal about it was Thomas Paine.
Yeah.
And he was he was staunchly for the separation of church and state.
Yeah, he was.
Like, Thomas Paine is pretty much the closest we get to actually having an answer. And I think he was like a protege of, I think, Jefferson.
Could have been.
Was it Jefferson or Ben Franklin? I can't remember.
I don't remember either, actually.
It was the fat guy or the skinny guy? I can't. That's how I. That's how I refer to those two: fat guy, skinny guy, wood teeth, beer guy. Sam Adams.
Yes, this is how we do history as well.
Oh, and by the way, I thought Samuel Adams founded that company. He didn't.
He didn't.
No, it was kind of a disappointment.
It is.
Because I would drink like 15 or so seconds, and I was feeling very patriotic, but not now.
Not now, right?
I mean, it's still, since it was made in Boston, I'm still gonna,
Yeah,
yell
yeah.
racial slurs to celebrate Boston's heritage.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but as far as like the founding fathers, well, like another thing to keep in mind is that back then, really until like fairly recently, like a church was pretty much the same thing as a town hall. Like that's where people would
Right.
meet. And in Maryland, Virginia, and I think North Carolina, like the churches there, like were like the official government meeting places.
Right.
And like basically from what I read, it seems like most of the founding fathers seem to lean toward. I mean, there was like a handful of really conservative people, but for the most part, they either lean towards like the secular humanism thing, or they just they're religious, but the separation of church and state was a pretty
More.
important thing. And actually,
I feel like it's more valued then than it is now.
oh, definitely, for sure, and like. And it makes perfect sense. The reason why, like, oh, the founding father, like, this is a Christian country. Like, the whole, like, people are forgetting the entire reason that people came here from England was because of religious persecution.
Right.
I don't know why that gets lost on everybody, but, like, yeah.
And it's ironic to me because now, a couple hundred years later, or a few hundred years later, Europe and Britain is like very. I mean, it's way more secular than America is.
Yeah.
Like we ran away from it and then we created it here.
Yeah, you know why that probably is because like so. Look at look at trends of immigration in the last 150 years. So from like the mid 1800s, who were the biggest immigrant groups? It was the Irish, then like the Italians and Polish, and
Right.
now like a lot of Hispanic countries. And one thing they all have in common is that they're very strongly religious countries. So like,
right.
And this is the fucking really shitty part of American politics. Like, Republicans are typically religious, or they at least use religion to do what they need to do. So like, yeah, that's like the thing. So like the Republicans appeal to a lot of immigrant groups, not on a socioeconomic level, but they appeal to their religion. So then, of course, Democrats have to try and appeal to religion too, so that all the like religious immigrants are voting for Republicans.
Right.
So then, because of that, you just get two sides that are just pandering, and that really is why religion is so prevalent in politics. That's why, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat running for office, they all have to make some sort of they all have to take some religious stance. I can't even think of I can't even think of one atheist politician that like.
That's funny you say that because that's what I was actually looking into right now. All right, so there's no actual way for us to know like what percent of our population in America is atheist, but people have it as low as 10 and as high as like 30. Right.
Yeah.
So let's just use that range. There should be there's 535 Congress members in Congress. Okay.
That's a lot.
Not one of them is an atheist. There should be at minimum 55.
Yeah.
There should be at max about 150 to 200 in that ballpark, but not one of them and at least not one of them is admitting to being atheist.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, see, that's the thing. It's because we got this stupid two-party system, and like, oh man, if you're running for president, at least right now, like, you just said you were an atheist, like,
You're done.
yeah,
Like you're off. There's no way you're getting voted in if you came out.
yeah, like Bernie Sanders being Jewish, like, I was surprised he even got that far, honestly.
Right. Well, I honestly, if you asked me, I would almost guarantee you he's an atheist.
Probably.
But that's for another day.
Yeah. Well, we're planning on getting Bernie on the show in a month or so.
He
We'll
just
just let him.
once he returns my calls,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, once I return his calls, that's what I meant.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's waiting on me.
Once I'm allowed back in Vermont.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the statute of limitations runs out, then he'll be on the show.
Yeah. It's only a few weeks away, right?
Well, it would have been if it wasn't for the last incident.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah.
I tried to bomb the Ben and Jerry headquarters, in case anyone was wondering.
Well, they kept rejecting your idea, right?
Yeah.
New from Ben and Jerry's ice cream, jizz and tuna.
Jizz and tuna. Oh man. So you could just call it strip club.
Yeah, exactly.
Caramel strawberry strip club.
Yeah, and they rejected that. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it'll come around.
But I was reading. I'm trying to find the notes, my coffee stain notes now. I spilled coffee all over the place earlier. But, like an idiot. But I was reading an article a few years ago, and I found it again. It's a Huffington Post piece, and they bring up a really good point about another possibility why we're more religious, and that's because we're way less socially skilled. In a sense, like we don't have universal health care still. We have way fewer safety nets. So like as a population, we're all way more stressed than like most of the European nations because they know if anything bad happens, it doesn't mean they're going to be in debt for the rest of their lives. Like they don't have to worry about it that bad. So when you have that worry, you have something like you want to like. It's almost like you need to just. I have no control over it, so let me pretend there's a God. Maybe he can take control of my life for me. Like it almost invites religion to me.
That's a pretty good point. And real quickly, I just want to trash Europe because
Sure.
It just made me think. Like I heard so many people say, like especially stupid celebrities, and if you're informing your opinion based on what celebrities say, guess what? You're an idiot. But I just heard so many like people and famous people say like, if Donald Trump wins, that's it. I'm moving to Europe, and like
None of them have.
and like what people don't realize is that Europe super racist pretty much everywhere. Like
Is it really?
like oh yeah, like anti-immigration is one of the biggest like platforms politicians are using.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, very racist. Like there's like pretty much every country in Europe has had or does have like their own Donald Trump. But I mean, it almost like I kind of almost understand why. I'm not really anti-immigration, but like Europe is just so condensed.
Right, they're all on top of each other.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm sure because typically when people have an anti-immigration stance, it's usually just racist. Like that's what it is.
Right. Don't let the brown people over here.
Yeah, like if there was a country that like they were white and they spoke perfect English, I really don't think anti-immigrant people would have a problem with them coming in. But
It's almost like if you had a country, let's say, that to the north of them was a bunch of white people, and to the south of them was a bunch of brown people. that the majority, and I'm just saying like hypothetically here,
Yeah.
but like let's call the one north of this country, let's call that Canada, just for shits and giggles, and let's
Yeah, I
call
mean,
the
I
place
did literally
south of
describe Canada.
here. Yeah, exactly. Like, but look at our border north of here. Trump's not building a border wall on like North Dakota.
Yeah, yeah. What's funny is that I could picture at some point Canada building a wall. Because, like, when I lived in Minnesota, I talked to at least a pretty decent amount of people that would say stuff like, yeah, I was really sick, I had to have an operation, so I just snuck into Canada and went to the hospital.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I can see it happening down the road.
Yeah.
Like, the more ridiculous America gets, the more people are going to try to flee over there.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck Canada.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I had something to add to that, but
No, I just found that interesting, though. Like, I never really thought of that angle for, Europe not religious, America religious. And it makes some sense. There's no way, obviously, you can prove it, but...
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't really think of that. That's interesting.
I'll see if I can, I see this. I feel like I see this every episode, and then I just don't do it. But, like, I'll see if I can try to find that article, and post it on our website.
Yeah, I really need to start bookmarking articles so we can post it, because I'm sure that most of what I read and say on the show, I probably butcher the hell out of it and miss probably miss most of the interesting parts.
Yeah. I get the edges where it's not so entertaining.
And, that reminds me, and I'm starting a new religious movement, but, so I was researching something for the show, like, yesterday or the day before, and I think I was typing in religious politicians or something, but I got to the RE, and then it auto-filled the rest of the, thing, and it was, I don't know, I was looking at it on my phone, and if there's something I looked up before, it's in, like, a dark black font.
Right.
I got RE, and then it auto-filled Reginald Bell Johnson, who played Carl Winslow on Family Matters. So once again, instead of researching stuff to make the show better, I end up reading about Family Matters. But
we got sidetracked on that one last time too.
yeah, I started talking about Home Alone.
Yeah.
Well, it loosely fit the theme.
It did. It was all about Christmas. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh no, but actually this time it does at least fit a religious theme, because and then also I was at my friend's house yesterday, and we ended up watching like 4 straight hours of Family Matters because they got it on Hulu.
Nice.
And 4 hours. That's 11 fucking episodes. The Family fucking Matters. So.
You gotta do what you gotta do, though.
Yeah. No, but I was watching it, and I realized, because when I was a kid, I thought Steve Urkel was so funny, and then now that I'm an adult, I want to kill him.
Yeah.
Like.
Just shut the fuck up, Steve.
Yeah. Any of our any listeners who have a Hulu subscription, watch some Family Matters, and tell me that, especially if you were a fan as a kid, because I watched the fuck out of that, but like, watch one episode and tell me you don't want to murder Steve Urkel. There is probably not one episode where, first of all, he invites himself into the Winslows constantly.
Yeah.
And they live in Chicago. Like, maybe they should start locking their doors. That is not a safe city.
Yeah. I've always, like, even back then when I was a kid, I was like, why don't they just lock it?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I have to switch gears for a second. Yep, there it goes. I forgot what I was gonna say. No. But yeah. So Steve Urkel's a piece of shit. He's constantly eating their food, breaking everything. There's at least 2 episodes I can think of where he destroys the entire living room.
I feel like a really good idea that I'm just too lazy to do is to, like, go find all the shit he broke throughout the year, like the episodes, and, like, total it up.
Oh shit, there's a great YouTube series where they review movies and they estimate the total cost of damage.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if they've done it with any shows, but they've done it with a lot of movies. That'd be great, because so, like, Steve Urkel's a piece of shit. Like, he is so annoying. I was watching one where they got stuck on the subway during Christmas, and he's trying to make everyone sing Christmas songs. And,
like an asshole.
Oh, man, I don't know how he didn't get stabbed to death. So, that brings me to, I decided to start, maybe not a religion, maybe a philosophical school of thought based around Carl Winslow, because I've determined that he is the most patient man that has ever lived.
Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board.
So, yeah, I was watching that. He's never raised his fist in anger towards Urkel. I think we could all learn something from Carl Winslow. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna write some doctrines.
Okay.
It's basically gonna be about the teachings of Carl Winslow and how we could all aspire to have his level of patience and understanding.
Right. It was maybe instead of like a Zen-like state, it could be like a Carl-like state.
Yeah, because it's not about worshiping Carl Winslow. It's essentially kind of like Buddhism. You learn from him and you apply it to your life.
Exactly. Learn his ways.
That was how I justified
time spent.
Yeah.
I don't pay you to look up Carl Winslow facts. I don't even pay you at all. Well, I think one of the things that's, like, weird to me is just, like, I've never understood the religious right supporting or not supporting the things they do.
That is truly the insane part of, like, all of that. I mean,
how can you argue healthcare, like, against healthcare?
Probably like the best, because who was it? David Cross. He had a really good bit on that. It's like, isn't caring about people who can't care, who are unable to care for themselves, isn't that pretty much the most Christian value?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, where the fuck? How are Christians not, like, supporting that?
It makes no sense to me. And that is one of the first things. It's interestingly enough, that was one of the first things that got me out of the Republican Party.
Yeah. Like, it makes no sense.
Because, like, I at one point was registered Republican. And, like, that was one thing I'm like, I don't really think I disagree with healthcare. I disagree with the Democrats on healthcare, I should say. Like, I kind of think maybe we should be protected as a country.
And then on the flip side of that is, like, I'll read, like, an article about anti-vaxxers or the religious right, and then the other half of me says, like, no, you know what? I think I want more people to die. I think I want less of you.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, that's why I think we should get rid of all the safety labels and everything too.
Yeah, just a real free for all.
Yeah,
Actually, you know what? I think we should just get rid of all labels.
all of them. You just got to figure out what the fuck's happening next.
Yeah, like all you need to know is that if it's purple, it might taste like grape.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if we did that for like 2 years, 3 years, the
Yeah,
overpopulation of this planet, would slow down a little bit.
yeah, yeah. And if it's white, then buckle up because it could be that could be anything.
Right?
Who knows?
Could be Ben and Jerry's. What'd you call it? Strip
uh,
club?
caramel strawberry strip club.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It tastes like jizz and tuna.
All right, so somehow that's gonna have to work.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, well, yeah, like, um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, they have a, when you really think about it, like, the religious right, like, yeah, you brought up a good point. Like, the stuff that they get behind makes no sense. Like, it does not line up with Christianity whatsoever.
right.
Because, I will say, I'm a Jesus fan. He was pretty cool.
Yeah, you kind of, I don't know.
Overrated.
Yeah, his little magic trick.
Yeah.
Not
Or
impressed.
he was like, why people think Kurt Cobain was overrated. Like, oh yeah, well he
Yeah,
died young. If
right.
Jesus lived another decade, he'd be like, he was sold out.
So true.
But he did stuff like, well, basically walk around and help people. And so, like, his teachings do not line up with opposing healthcare, um, uh, going to war. Just like
Right.
a lot of their stuff. Like
Right.
the Republicans are like, at least nowadays, um, they're really against like drug law reform and like prison reform in general. That's like the tough on crime thing is like people do not realize how fucked up that is. Like in Norway, Norway, and I think like Sweden and Switzerland, which are the three countries, or like three of the countries that are considered like the most happy. Like the quality of life is the best, and
Mm-hmm.
in Norway they have a mandatory uh, maximum sentence for any crime of, I think, at one point it was 15 years. Now it might be 20 or 25. They have, I mean, special exceptions for like terrorism and
Right.
that Anders Breivik guy who killed like 26 people. I'm
He got it good.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's not in there for no damn 15 years. But like,
Right.
and the fact that they have the lowest crime rate, the best quality of life, like,
I would also want to know how, like, what is their stance on letting prisoners out early for like good behavior.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I would doubt that they would give them a 15-year sentence and then let them out in 7 on good behavior.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like the whole tough on crime thing. Like, I mean, I guess that's kind of a weird thing to get into because you can't just give people a slap on the wrist for everything. But
right.
I think, well, for one thing, I don't think any other country in the world has the incarceration level that we do. Like, I'm pretty sure we have the highest per capita incarceration rate in the entire world.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And
I'm losing my voice all of a sudden.
And yeah, that really, like, if you look at the Scandinavian countries, we could clearly learn something from that, but I just don't get why people, probably because a lot of prisons are privatized. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of money, and that's really probably has everything to do with it.
yeah, 100%. That's it. I don't. I feel like the reason it's so easy to get sidetracked is because shit's just like so fucked up right now.
Yeah. Yeah, like, 'cause I remember Obama was doing some, like, prison reform stuff, uh, like trying to release people who, from prison who got caught with weed, and, like, trying to, like, anytime, like, drug law reform comes up, uh, there's always a huge outcry from, like police and corrections officers unions because less people in prison are going to put them out of a job. And of
Right.
course, I don't want people to be unemployed, but seriously, that's like fucked up.
Yeah. It's like this to me is like insane amounts of corruption
Oh yeah,
because they are allowed to steal like get votes from religious people. Because they just
yeah,
wave the little Jesus guy around, and then they swat at it like a cat. And
yeah. That's
they'll vote for every Republican they can because Republicans pander to the religion side, and then they fucking rob us blind.
yeah, yeah. That makes me think of like how just all the goddamn Obama's a Muslim bullshit. Like, uh, first of all, um, you know, like not rich, like conservatives have a lot in common with Muslim people because
Yes, they
it's
do.
it's the poor, uneducated Muslims that are the assholes, and like the country's ran by a handful of rich families like America, and like a Saudi prince, like I'm sure he'll wear all the traditional garb, but as soon as he goes inside his palace, it's just like you know, a real booze and fuck fest.
Right, right.
Just like American rich people and
Exactly,
politicians.
exactly. It's just, mm,
Yeah, people are just remarkably similar everywhere you go.
yeah, it's crazy.
I hope the world burns. Get rid of everyone, I say. That's actually, I should run for public office, and that should be my platform, is just get rid
You
of
probably,
everyone.
you actually should do that. That would be amazing. You would run. I just want it to all go away.
Yeah, I just want you all to go away. All of you.
You would at
And
least, like, at the very least, be on the news somewhere.
and that would make me the only honest politician,
Right.
and that would still probably make me overqualified for presidency.
Exactly.
You know what's
Dude,
actually
I think you should run. I think you should use this podcast as your
as my campaign
yeah.
campaign state headquarters.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
We
that's a good
can
idea.
answer questions from your supporters.
Yeah,
We can really get to know you as a candidate.
and when people call in to like voice their support of me, I'd be like, no, I was talking about you too, dipshit. When I say everyone, I mean everyone.
Right, right. No, you can vote for me, and then I want you all to go away.
Yeah. And then like, the racist people are say like, oh, black people should go back to Africa, and then I'll be like, That's where humanity originated. So how about everybody go back to Africa? That'll be a more realistic platform.
I like that because we can start over from at least that point.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody
Go back.
Go back to Africa. I could just hang out here.
Dude, Project Etch-a-Sketch.
Project Etch-a-Sketch.
That's amazing. We just shake it and we go like all the population goes to Africa.
Yep.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, that's gonna be my platform.
Do you remember who made Etch-a-Sketch? Was it like a?
I was trying to, yeah. Cause I was thinking about Etch-a-Sketches the other day for some reason. Oh no, because I was watching Elf, and he wrote like an elaborate thing on an Etch-a-Sketch.
It's just some dude.
Yeah. just some maverick, some lone wolf.
Just creating all these Etch-a-Sketches.
That really is a toy that only a crazy person could have invented.
Yeah.
At least that's my take on
Andre, I can't. I've been staring at his name for like a minute and a half, and I can't figure out how to pronounce his last name. Casagnes. The Casagnes. The Casagnes family's gonna be so pissed off right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna get ready for a lot of hate mail.
Yep. The Etch-a-Sketch toy was invented in the late 1950s by Andre Casagnes, an electrician with Lincrusta Company. Lincrusta? Why can't I read? Who named the toy L'écran Magique? The magic screen?
Nice.
Yeah,
The magic screen sounds like, I don't know, if you were doing hallucinogens, something you'd probably, like, you're having a bad trip, man, just look at the magic screen, it'll be over in a couple of hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think that's why, like, I became an atheist before I left the Republican Party. Like, that was for some weird reason, like, easier to leave. Like...
Yeah.
No, like, it was just like, once you kind of start thinking, in terms of, like, God didn't make this. Like, once you you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
You're just gonna be like, oh yeah, like, you don't need God in almost every place God exists from the human side of things.
Yeah, that was kind of the point that I might have gotten to. Probably not, but well, I mean, I think I've said this about a million times, but like, nobody should need religion to teach them right from wrong. Like,
exactly.
I feel like that's kind of an inherent thing that you're gonna learn sooner or later. Yeah, if that's what you need, then like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. Like,
are you just gonna go on a kill crazy rampage if you skip church for a week? Because if that's what you're gonna do, then you need a lot more than religion.
Right.
You need a team of therapists and some antipsychotics.
Right. It just doesn't make sense to me. But like, I think that's why it kind of goes hand in hand. I stopped believing in Jesus, and then not too long after I left the Republican Party.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And by I left the Republican Party doesn't mean I just switched my name tag over to Democrat.
Right.
Like, I stopped voting just because of what letter was in front of the person's name. Was it an R or a D?
Yeah, right.
Like, now it's like, oh, this guy's full of shit. Okay. Which party is he in? I don't want that one.
Yeah, fucking two-party system. You know what the only party I care about is the movie House Party 1 and 2. 3 was okay. 4 was no good. That's my party. It's House Party, starring Kid and Play. I haven't seen that movie in like 15 years, nor did I think it was particularly good, but I promise I like it more than the Democrats or Republicans.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my message.
So what's your message so far?
Watch Family Matters and House Party.
House Party, there we go.
Yeah.
And everyone goes to Africa.
Yeah, everyone goes back to Africa.
I'm following. I like it.
Everyone. Yeah, everyone. And then I'm going to build a wall around it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I was going to say, so that no one can go in or out, but nobody's going to go in because they're all already in. And like they have such a wide array of exotic wildlife. Like, that's awesome. That's like being locked in a zoo.
Exactly.
Everyone should be grateful to me.
Everyone should be part of the exhibit.
And if they want to be, like, xenophobic, then they can divide Africa up however they want. That's not my problem.
Wow.
Yeah, just go.
So,
hurry up.
Here's an interesting thing. I hope my voice lasts through. What if you did that, right? So this is where we've been so far in evolution. Like this point. So take what we have now and put them in one spot, right?
Right.
Now let everything else that was once owned by humans go back to nature.
Yeah.
Do you think the people inside the box would still be around when humans came through again on the other side of the wall?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Probably not, because there's metal and uranium, like, widely available in Africa, so I'm sure they would just invent nuclear bombs and probably eliminate each other at some point. Yeah.
That's true. Wow. So if you just put the whole, you put the whole thing in a container, it's going to destroy itself.
Yeah. That's always, At least that seems to be where we're headed anyway, so I don't think...
So you put more faith in science, you can at least leave the container.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's my utopia. Either everyone lives peacefully far away from me, or they kill each other. Either way.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm here.
Yeah, either way. Just me and the tumbleweeds.
And mittens.
Yeah.
What's that? Mittens.
Yeah, mittens.
By the way, I had to protect my cat's identity. He was, he was a rescue.
Oh, yeah. That's
Mittens is not really my cat's name.
Yeah, that's like animal witness protection.
Yeah. I've said too much.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Just a reminder, you can help support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/churchofatheism. I want to thank everyone again for listening, and we will talk to you next time.